Hello, everyone, and welcome to another incredible episode of Empowered Conversations, where I have amazing conversations with extraordinary people who are out in the world just doing beautiful things in the world in service to others and just all around living their best, most fulfilled lives. And guys, John Corbellini, he's a men's empowerment coach. He's one of my good friends, and he's been on Empowered Conversations before, and he's also been on Frickin' Conversations. He's one of my cooking class students. He's just all around, just super frickin' amazing. And he is facilitating an annual global day of forgiveness in the new year. And in life and in our schools and in our homes, oftentimes our children are taught about wars and the challenges and what makes us different, what makes us separate. John believes there is a consciousness shift. John believes there is a consciousness shift, y'all, that's happening now. I agree. I frickin' agree. He also believes we absolutely can help it along one day a year. We can help it along with one day a year where we put the hate, the anger, the resentment, and the F you and teach our children how to love, how to find compassion, how to actually be the best version of themselves. Boy, if we started with children early in life, they would grow most likely into self-aware, action-oriented, self-responsible adults. Can you imagine? John, as I said before, he's an empowerment coach specializing with men, but he also coaches women too. He's a foundational coach and professional speaker. He studied in the Robbins Madanes Coaching Program and is a graduate of Unleash the Power Within and Date with Destiny. John is also the co-host of the Mentoring Men's podcast, where I've been a guest, a published author in Write and Shine magazine, a co-author of Which Leader to Follow, and everything you need to know about becoming a coach. And he's also currently writing his own autobiography called Until Now. John is a board-certified NLP practitioner, board-certified NLP coach, and certified in timeline therapy. As a divorced father of two sets of twins, y'all, they're adorable too. He has had to rebuild himself from the ground up. He uses what he's learned in his own life and in his own transformation as a transformational approach to help other men and women do the same. He also works with men and women from all over the world to improve their quality of life. Guys, drum roll, please. Whoop, 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 whoop. Help me in welcoming my guest, John Corbellini. What
Hello,
is
Steph.
up,
How
John?
are you, love?
I am doggone fantastic. How about yourself?
Outstanding. It's been a long time since we've spoken, like 2 days ago.
Yeah, like 2 days ago, we were on cooking class together and we made paleo pancake. Oh my God. You all right?
And those were off the charts, those paleo pancakes. They were incredible. Wow.
Oh Lord.
It
Y'all,
was
it's
so easy.
yes, yeah,
So
it was.
easy.
Yeah, it really was. The it took a total like 5 or 6 minutes,
Yeah. It took long.
from
It took longer for me to cut up the fruit than it did for me to actually cook the thing. It was, and
right, yeah.
it was so good. I cannot wait to make it for the kids this weekend.
Oh God, your kids, yeah, that's a healthy way that children can enjoy pancake. Well, everybody can enjoy pancakes, but I
Yeah.
mean, it oftentimes really is a challenge to get, children to eat like vegetables and stuff like that. But y'all, there are so many unique and like sneaky ways in which you can, incorporate healthier stuff into your children's food. Trust me, I know how to do it. I can teach it.
And my one guy, my one of my kids, and one of my kids is a gluten has to be gluten free,
Mhm.
and it's when I try to get him to eat something gluten free, he gets all upset. I'm like, dude, forgive me, I'm sorry, but you got to. Eat gluten free. And
Yeah.
now this is something where he doesn't have to forgive me. which is a great
Exactly.
segue into forgiveness, right? So
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. So we'll just get right to it, John.
let's get in it.
This annual global, I was doing a live video and I kept saying national. And then I was like international. And I'm like,
Yeah, so,
global. Global's like the perfect word. This global day of
so
forgiveness. Tell
yeah,
me about
it's
that.
all right. So it's an annual global day of forgiveness is what I want to I want to get the ball rolling on this. I want to make this happen. It's already happened. It's already done. I've decided it's already done. I just got to get everybody else behind me on this, and I'm working on it. And so basically, like you said, um, in life, in school, we're taught about all the wars, all the anger, what makes us
Mhm.
different, and what separates us. And we don't really talk. We don't teach our kids about what brings us together, what we have in common. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we'll hear about different cultures or different races, the black race, the white race. Bullshit. It's the human race.
Right.
Let's start there.
Mhm.
Let's start
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and the idea that we're different has been
Right.
really bothering me lately. It's just something, and I haven't put my finger on it yet, but it's just something that is just bothering the hell out of me that we're different.
Mhm.
We're not.
Right.
We're not. We're the same. We're different experiences, different upbringings, but we're human beings first before we're anything else.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. That is the one common, like one, well, there are many, there's probably billions, but like it's the one at the basic, we are human
Yeah.
at the very basic level.
And why do we feel the need to say like, oh, excuse me, forgive me, I'm sorry, forgive me, I bumped into you, forgive me, I'm sorry. You bumped into somebody. It was an accident. We bumped into each other. This isn't a forgiveness thing, you know.
Mhm.
But we've become so programmed to use this word, and we don't know what the word means.
Mm.
Forgiveness has nothing to do. If Steph, if you had done something to me,
Mhm.
okay, hurt me in some way, said something bad about me, whatever it was, that event happened.
Mhm.
It's done. It's over. It's in the past. But forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with letting you off the hook because it happened. You did it to me, and
Mhm.
that's it. I can sit there and be pissed off and angry and hate you for the rest of my life.
Mhm.
What good does that do? What does it do? A friend of mine, a friend of mine gave me a definition of hatred, which I just fell in love with. This it's just perfect. And he said that hatred is like drinking a poison and expecting the
Mhm.
other person to die.
Mhm.
You're killing yourself when you hang on to
Mhm.
this shit.
Right, resentment. Mhm.
Yeah, resentment, anger, all of this stuff. So, and you're killing yourself
Mhm.
because if I if I hung on to hatred or anger or resentment or whatever towards you for something you did to me, does that affect you? No, it doesn't affect you at all. So what the hell am I doing to myself? So forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with the other person. It has everything. You're not letting somebody off the hook.
Right.
You're letting yourself off the hook.
Yes, thank you.
You're
That
loving
thank
your,
you.
you're loving yourself enough. You're respecting yourself enough to say, you know what, this shit happened. I learned from it. It sucked. It will never happen again.
Mhm.
But it does not own me. It does not define me. And I will not allow it to control the rest of my life. I will not drag this into the future with me. I'm loving myself enough to take that event, throw it in the garbage, throw it in the dumpster where it goes, and leave it there in the garbage in the past and move forward.
Right,
Now,
right. Have you ever heard, do you know who Danica Patrick is?
Sarah,
I watched her be interviewed on the Tom Bilyeu Impact Theory show one day, and she was talking about how her dad would tell her as a little girl when he was trying to trying to train her to ride a bicycle. She would look back at him, and he goes, why are you looking back? You're not going that way."
yes, yes, exactly. Exactly. And speaking of Danica Patrick, she's got um She's got a podcast of her own that she does a lot. It's called Pretty Intense.
Oh, oh, I did not
Oh,
know
check it
that.
out. Some of those are amazing.
Oh,
Pretty Intense.
okay.
Yeah, it's awesome. She's had Greg Braden on there. She's had so many people on there. Joe Dispenza was on there. A
Ooh,
whole bunch of people. Oh yeah, amazing, amazing. Watch that podcast. It's awesome.
okay.
Um, so so where was I? So forgiveness is about loving yourself enough, because this is the thing about forgiveness. The okay, bad hair day. The 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 single greatest gift of forgiveness is inner peace.
Hmm.
Your peace,
Yes.
my peace. When you come from a place of inner peace, when you ask a question from a place of inner peace, do you think you can ask a better question?
Hmm.
Do you think you will get a better answer? With that better answer, can you make a better decision?
Mm.
From a better decision, will you get a better result, a better experience in your life? So it's inner peace. That's the blessing of forgiveness. Now, think about this for a minute. Visualize a hot air balloon.
Hmm.
What is the nature of a hot air balloon? What does it want to do? It wants to
Rise.
rise. It wants to
Hmm.
rise, right? But it's held down. It's held down by these ropes, right? Until somebody cuts those ropes, it's held down. It's not going anywhere. Okay? Think of yourself as that hot air balloon. The ropes that are holding you down: hatred, anger, resentment, guilt. F you. I don't know if I can say it on here. F you.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
street,
This is an
street.
adult podcast.
Yeah, fuck you. It's okay. I'll say it. All of that stuff, all of that shit is what's holding you down. The true you,
Hmm.
is your spirit. It's
Hmm.
your soul. It's who you are. Okay. Too many people think that you're Stephanie McPherson. No, you're not. That's your name.
Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
it's the body. No, that's my body. That's not
Hmm.
who I am. I'm John Corbellini. No, not that's my name. Well, this body is that's me. No, it's my body. Who am I? Your self-image. Your self-image is who you are. What you truly believe about yourself.
Mm.
Are you somebody? Do you define yourself as somebody who is full of hate, as full of anger? Do
Hmm.
you find to define yourself as somebody who has to get even
Right.
because there's a score to settle?
Hmm.
Or do you define yourself as somebody who is loving, compassionate, understanding, has empathy for other people? Who are you? So you get to, here's a homework assignment for your viewers. You get to write down who who are you? Who am I? So take a piece of, I wish I had a piece of paper. Actually, I do. Hang on a second. I got a notepad right here.
All right.
I got a notepad
You need
right
a
here.
better marker.
I got a pen somewhere around here. I got a pen somewhere. Where's my pen? Hold on. I got to get a pen. Hang on. Sorry. Sorry. My bad. My
This
bad.
is
My bad.
live, y'all. This is why it's live. All this good
Okay, that
stuff.
was an unintentional crash and burn. Sorry, my bad. So, we take a piece of paper, right? Now you guys are going to
Uh-huh.
see this backwards because I can't do that, forwards. But let's write down 4 columns. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take a piece of paper just like this, a line across the top and 3 lines, right? So we have 4 columns to work with. Okay, in the top left corner, write who I am. Who I am, just like that. Who I am.
Hey, I have a real quick question. Are we
No
being
questions allowed.
broadcasted on Facebook right now? Somebody just hearted, and I don't know if that's from YouTube or if that's from Facebook. I've seen, yes, go right on. I know that you're
That's
not going to lose
quite
your
all right.
train of thought because we did this out in Arizona. Who I am. Go ahead, John.
Okay, so in the first column, you put down who I am. Second column, who do I want to be? The third column, you write down, what am I doing? And the fourth column, you write the word result. So this is what it looks like. This is what it
Yes.
looks like. Okay, who am I? Who I am?
Mhm.
Who do I want to be? What am I doing? And the result. So now this is where you get to find out. This is the inner work that you get to do, and and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself, because this, I'll bet some people have
Mhm.
never seen this before. You didn't know.
Right.
You
Right.
didn't know. So it's called unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. Oh God. And I talk about that all the time on here. Like, we don't know what we don't know until we have been made aware that that option is even a possibility.
Exactly. So now here's another. Let's take it a level deeper now. So you don't know what you don't know, right?
Mhm.
Now think about a brand new baby, newborn baby, born into a household that's bilingual or multilingual. Okay, two, three languages spoken in that home. How many languages is that baby going to grow up to speak? Two languages. If it's a
Yeah.
bilingual household, there's two
Right.
languages spoken, English and Spanish. I'm making it up. I don't know, whatever it is. That baby's going to grow up to speak English and Spanish because the baby is does not have. This is not. I'm not saying anything bad against babies. The baby does not have the conscious ability to say,
Right.
"I cannot learn two languages." It
Right.
doesn't know that it. There's no choice. This is just what's being funneled into the baby. And the baby
Mhm.
accepts everything. So somewhere
Yes.
between your childhood
Mhm.
and your adulthood, you made a choice, a decision, consciously or unconsciously,
Mhm.
that this is it. I can't learn anything new. I'm done. It's over. People, this society, the news, whatever happens in your neighborhood that you grew up in, I don't know, wherever you're getting your information from, people are out to get you. You
Mm.
know, people are
Right.
going to stick
Right.
it to you.
Right.
Don't trust anybody.
Right.
You learned this. This isn't what's true.
Right.
This is something that you learned. You accepted it. You decided. You chose to believe
Mhm.
it because everybody else around you believed it. So let's
Right.
just go with the flow. Let's go with everybody else.
And those beliefs, John, do create those situations in which it
That's
validates your opinion. And,
absolutely.
I brought this up, when I was talking, I think it was Marco and Yogesh when we were having the community empowerment hour, about how everything that's going on out here is a direct reflection of what's going on in here. The mind controls what the eyes see.
See,
Period.
so many people think that we describe what we see.
Right.
I'm describing what I see, the world around me. This is what
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
describing. No, you don't describe what you see. You see what you describe. And that's the
Mm,
programming in your head.
yes.
People suck. People are out to get you.
Mm,
These people are different than us. That makes them bad. Okay.
right.
All of this
Right.
bullshit.
Right.
When you filter it down, you learned that because the baby did not come into this world with any kind of bias or any kind of prejudgment
Thank
about
you.
anybody else. It
Thank
just
you.
accepted what it was told because it didn't
Yes.
know any better.
Right.
It wasn't capable. That baby was not capable. It did not have any filters. It
Mhm.
was just a gigantic brain dump from
Sponge.
everybody around it, and it got dumped into this kid's head. And this is what this kid grew up with.
Mhm.
Whether it was right or wrong, it's not the baby's fault. Okay, because that's what the baby was given and didn't know any better. But now you're older, and at some point between the childhood and your adulthood, a decision was made, whether conscious or unconscious or subconsciously, that this is the way it is and that's it. Right? This is the way it is. Now here comes John Corbellini and Stephanie McPherson with this whole new idea about forgiveness. Okay, an annual global day of forgiveness, 1 day a year, 1 day. I'm not going to hate today. I'm going to let it go today. I'm going to call the person that I haven't spoken to in 5 years over something stupid and say, hey, you know what? I miss you, bro. I haven't seen you. I haven't spoken to you. It's in the past. Let's work the shit out. I'm going to do that today.
Mm,
It's a choice. Now imagine that choice multiplied by 8 billion people on this planet.
hmm.
Do you think maybe something will change if we can do that for 1 day?
Collective consciousness.
Collective consciousness. Absolutely. It's the consciousness shift. It is happening,
Yes.
but it's
Yes.
happening a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
happening in
Yep. Yep.
pieces. Let's bring it
Hmm.
together. Let's bring
Hmm.
it together. But here's, as an adult, I hate to use the word adult because some people are grown up and they're not adults. You know what I mean? But anyway, and no judgment. It's just a statement of fact. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. You're gonna, somebody's gonna watch this broadcast and say, "Who's this guy, John Corbellini? What is he out of his friggin' mind? Is he kidding?" No, I'm not kidding. Do something different because what's happening obviously isn't working. There's still war. There's still hatred. There's still um, discrimination. There's still separation. There's still all of this shit.
Hmm.
Just give it a shot. Think about this for a minute. Just a
Hmm.
day. Is it
Hmm.
going to kill you to say today I'm not going to hate anybody? If there's a war going on that day, wouldn't it be awesome if the soldiers decided today I'm not going to fire my gun? Today nobody gets killed. Today. Tomorrow, different story. Today, nobody's going to get killed today.
John, I was just having this conversation about the concept of war recently with someone, and I can't even remember who it was. God, I have these conversations so often. Seriously, I'm being serious, y'all. And I was like, I mean, it's in a John Lennon song or a Beatles song. Imagine no war. Imagine all the people.
Yeah, John Lennon.
And I remember having this conversation. I'm just like, no, oh, but Stephanie, there's always been war since the beginning of time. Okay, that might be true, but that doesn't mean that that has to exist into infinity. Like planting seeds. I can't imagine there never being war and us not not even needing armies because collectively we do unto others as we want ourselves done unto, and we treat our neighbor with the love of thyself that we treat ourselves. If we follow those two rules, you know,
Sounds good. It sounds good,
it sounds good.
but
Oh, that sounds good, Steph, but that's not that ain't never going to
that
happen. Well, if you believe that, then
then you're right. It's not going to happen. But
exactly.
why can't? And I know no empowering question starts with the word why. I've had that drilled into my head for 1,000 years.
Yes,
You know about that.
yes. Come on now,
but
everything is itching on me
what?
today.
But why can't it happen for a day? Let's do something different. Let's do something different. Let's just go up to a stranger and say hello, smile at them.
Mm,
You see somebody you don't know, a stranger who's you can clearly see they're having a bad day. Hey, can I help you? You look like you're having a bad day. Just a little bit of compassion. And
mhm,
if they tell you go F off, then you know what? But you chose to be the better person. You chose, you know, it, it's it's a choice. You know, we all talk about, well, you're supposed to love each other and we're all one big family. And, like you said, do unto others as you have others do unto you. But we don't. So where's the disconnect? I'm curious about where's the disconnect. What happens between concept and action? We've got the idea, we're not implementing it. And I want to know why. I want to know why we're not implementing it. And I want to know what would happen. What would happen if 8 billion people decided today, I'm not going to hate anybody? I'm not doing it today. I'm going to set the example for my children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to set the example for the neighbors.
Yes.
I'm going to set the example for the people I work with. You know,
Yes.
I'm not hating anybody today. And you can say it, but can you do it? Because you got to feel it. When I was on Marco's program, Marco Governale is a friend of ours. For those of you who don't know who he is, when I was on his program, we've talked in the past about how a prayer, right? We'll say a prayer, we'll say the words, right? The words are not the prayer.
It's
It's
the
the
intent.
feeling that you
Mm-hmm.
feel when you say those words. The
Mm-hmm.
feeling is the prayer.
Yes,
When you say,
100%.
when you say, today, I'm not going to hate, what do you feel when you say that?
Or today I'm gonna feel love.
Yes, today I'm going to let it go. Somebody hurt me a long time ago. Today, I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to carry it today. One day. What would happen if, I had this, all I can call it is a vision. Okay, because it was so real. It wasn't a dream. It was, I don't know what other word to use but a vision.
Mhm,
Um, I'm involved with Tony Robbins and his organization and
mhm.
all of that. I've been studying his stuff for years. Proctor Gallagher, right? Bob Proctor, a huge Bob
Yes.
Proctor
Oh,
fan.
absolutely.
Um, a young lady named Nurka, Niurka.
Yep.
She used to work for Tony 20 something years ago. I'm in a few of her programs. I'm doing a lot of things with her, and there's so many other people. And uh,
Love
Joe
it.
Dispenza, Michael
Mm.
Beckwith, all of these
Oh,
different
yes.
people,
Oh,
right? And
yes.
they all have the same goal about making this world a better place. Really,
Yes.
ultimately, that's what
Yes.
it's about, right?
Mhm.
And I actually had this vision with me and all of them standing in the chambers of the United Nations, talking to the leaders of the world
Yeah, God,
about
John.
making a annual global day of forgiveness. Can we agree that one day a year, put the bullshit aside just for
Mhm.
one day? Maybe, you know what? There are people who are going to hear this at some point, somewhere down the road, that are going to say, "This guy's out of his friggin' mind. What kind of fantasy world does he live in?"
That's
You know
their
what?
that's their
That
perception of their
and that's their
particular
perception.
reality. Mhm.
But who says you can't make the fantasy a reality? Because that's what the
Abso-freaking-lutely.
whole thing is about. Because we create as we speak. Every
Yep.
time you say this, every time somebody cuts you off and you flip them off on the highway, you're creating as you speak.
Mhm.
You spoke with your
Mhm.
fingers, but you spoke. Okay. The intention
Mhm.
is the language that
Everything.
you're using.
Mhm.
Everything. Can you not do that for one day?
Absolutely.
It's not that difficult a thing to do. But if we can do this, actually, in my heart, it's already done.
Yeah.
Okay, in my heart, it's already done. And I'm just getting this started. I'm just getting this movement started, and it's not even a movement, and
I
it's not
remember
a
the day you
revolution.
text me, you're like, "Stephanie, I wanna come on Empowered Conversations and share the concept of this annual global day of forgiveness." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. So, but do you understand that when you're a baby, you just love,
Oh, I totally
you
do.
just love. You don't know anything else. The people around you are the most awesome things in the world. Everything is
Right.
exciting.
Right.
When did that change?
Mhm.
And I'm not asking you to answer this question, but for everybody who's watching this, I want to ask you personally, individually, a question for everybody who's watching this. When did that stop? When did you consciously or unconsciously decide what event happened that said, no more? I can't learn anymore. This is the way it is. This is the way it's always going to be, because you have the choice, you have the ability. That we have something called a reticular activating system. And what we focus on, your
Mm.
reticular activating system is its job is to focus on the things that you're focusing on, to help you to see them, to reinforce them. If you go out and buy a new car, all of a sudden you see this car everywhere on the road because it's important to you now. It's something you want to focus on, and your reticular activating system does that. It finds the things that you're focused on. okay, to reinforce it for you. And if you're reinforcing, if you're focused on flipping off the guy who's cutting you off on the highway every time it happens,
Mm-hmm.
guess what?
It's what's going to happen over and over.
Everybody's going to cut you off. You're going to be flipping everybody off, and then
Yep.
people are going to flip you off. Hello, we create as we speak. Hello, okay?
I know that you've been reading that book, E Squared, and with the
Yeah,
experiments. I mean, and it is uncanny. E Squared. It is
yeah,
uncanny.
yeah. It's amazing. It really is a good book. There's another book called U Squared, which
Ooh.
I have not had the chance to
Like
read yet.
Y-O-U? Y-O-U?
YOU squared. Yeah, U squared. That book came highly recommended to me, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but it's on my list of reading material. I'm reading two other books right now. I'm reading what am I reading? You Were Born Rich from Bob Proctor and Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill. Those are the two books I'm chewing on right now.
Yeah.
And but you see,
I've heard of,
that's
Think and Grow Rich. I've read that, but I haven't, read the other one. You Were Born Rich, right?
you were born you yeah, You Were Born Rich
Yeah, show
from
us.
Bob Proctor. Um,
And I
it
just
is
wanted to say Heather's here. Oh, I love that. Yeah, okay. You Were
You
Born
Born Rich
Rich.
from
Love
Bob
that.
Proctor. It
Oh,
is
is that a
on
new book?
Amazon. No, it was
Oh,
written in
okay.
1980,
Oh, okay.
82, something like that. So yeah, it's out there. Highly recommend that book too. Um, um, Lost my train of thought there.
Talking about, you were talking about Bob Proctor and his books, and you were talking about like,
Oh,
well, just like when you're talking and creating your reality continuously, like nonstop. You were constantly
and
creating your reality.
you're thinking, your thinking is creating and generating the results you're getting in your life.
Hmm.
Okay, and that's true of every area of your life, your relationship, your finances, your
Everything.
job. My boss sucks. All of this stuff. And it may be that the person's not the nicest person in the world, but you are the one who has the choice as to how you respond. If you are reacting, you are not thinking. Period. End of
And we're all
conversation.
guilty of that. We're all
And we
guilty of
are
of
guilty of that.
react instead of reflect because
Absolutely.
fight or
But
flight,
absolutely. But what would
being
happen
conscious of it.
when what would happen if you were consciously present in the moment when something is starting to hit the fan? Okay. Would you react or would you be able to respond? When you are responsible, you are response able.
Mm.
You are able to respond.
That's a writer downer.
So
Responsible is response
response able.
able. Love that.
You are able to respond. So see, because there's three ways you can look at things. There's three ways you can look at it. You can look at things through first person, through your own
Mhm.
eyes, or what's in it for me. You can look at through the second person, through if you and I are having a conversation, and let's say you and I have a difference of opinion. It's not a fight; it's just a difference of opinion. Shit happens. I can look at it from your perspective to try to understand it better.
Mhm.
But then there's the third position. One, two, three. I can't tell which way my hand is going on the camera. It's opposite. Uh, so, the third position, and this is where you and your audience, you get to engage your brain and do something different for a change. Okay, and that's not an insult. It's not a put down. It's just think for a minute, do something different. Third position, you and I are having a conversation. Okay, and there's 10 other people around. Visualize yourself hovering at the ceiling, looking down on all 12, you and me and the other 10 people that are in the room, and visualize, think about what can benefit everybody. It's
Mm,
not about what's in it for me. It's
right.
not about what's in it for you. It's about what's in it for everybody. If you come at a challenge, a problem, a situation from that perspective, can you make a better decision? Do you think you can, and sincerely, honestly, and again, we're not
Right.
talking about just making this stuff up. We're talking about literally feeling, because the feeling is the prayer, right? We create as we speak. What you feel is what usually comes out of your mouth,
Mhm.
especially when you're angry. right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what would happen if when you're in a good mood, something different comes out of your mouth? You know that to be true too. You know, I don't know,
Mhm.
Christmas morning is right around the corner, right? Somebody buys you a Christmas present, you didn't know. Oh my God, this is so cool. And you know you love this Christmas present,
Right.
right? And you
Mhm.
feel it when you say, "Oh, thank you so much." The person who's hearing that, who gave you that gift, knows
Yeah.
that it's sincere because the feeling is behind the words. They're not empty words.
Right.
What would it take for that to happen, not just on Christmas morning, but the other 365 days of the year? Can you do it once a day? Can you compliment somebody sincerely with feeling,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And can you go over to somebody that, somebody that you work with that you don't get along with or whatever the challenge
Mhm.
is and say, "You know what, Steph, look, you and I have had challenges in the past. We've butted heads in the past, but even though we have a difference of opinion, I still respect you as a person. I
Mhm.
respect you as a
Mhm.
human being." If you can do that with sincerity and feel it, do you think that you would, if I can do that to you with sincerity and feeling, do you think you might say, "You know what, John, you're right. I respect you too."
Mhm.
Maybe I would get that back. I may get a big FU from it, but I might get, and I'm willing to roll the dice.
Right.
You have to be willing to roll the dice. And it's truly about owning the mistakes that you've made too. You're not
Mhm.
perfect. I'm not
Right.
perfect. Shit, I've made so many freaking mistakes in my life. It's not even funny. I make
Right.
it, I lost count. So if I've done it, who the
I
hell am I
know.
going to hold a grudge against you? Let it go.
Right. Yeah.
Forgiveness.
Yeah. Because you have
One,
to first forgive yourself, but so oftentimes people haven't even forgiven themselves. They're stuck in whatever, like the guilt and the shame, and that just repeats, over and over and over in their head.
you
So
know,
if they're not able to forgive themselves, they're not able to forgive others for the wrongdoing.
it's funny you should say that because Bob Proctor, one of my I love this guy. Anything I can learn from Bob, and I know he passed away last February, but anything that I can learn, I still learn from him all the time.
Mhm.
Um, he defined a paradigm. Okay, we all suffer from paradigms, and he said a
Mhm.
paradigm. This is his definition. A paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over your habitual behavior, and almost all behavior is habitual. So if you want to change something in your life, you got to change the habit.
Yep.
Okay. You got
And the
to change the
program.
habit. Well, how do you change the habit? Well, Tony Robbins has something called the triad, right?
Mhm.
Physiology, focus, and meaning. You change the way you use your body when you're talking to somebody. If you change the meaning you give something, oh, Stephanie's a pain in the ass. Wait a minute. Maybe she's not a pain. Maybe I'm the pain in the ass. Maybe if you change the way you look at something, who was it? It was Wayne Dyer who said if when you change the way you look at something, the thing you look at changes,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Guys, do you see how this is all connected? Do you see how all of these are little pieces of the puzzle that when you put them together in your own personal life, things change so fast,
Mhm. Boom, like instantly, like literally instantly.
instantly, instantly. And when you realize that, hey, you know what? I have some growing to do too. I'm not perfect either. And you can say the word, yeah, of course I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. Yeah, but what are you doing to change it?
Mhm.
Remember this? Who am I? Who
Mhm.
do I want to be? What am I doing about it? And what are my results? And if what you're doing isn't working, what do you do? Change what you're doing. And
Mhm.
what if that doesn't work? Change it again.
Change it, you keep changing, you
And you
keep changing
keep
until you're no
until
longer on the
when?
earth.
Until you figure out what works.
Right.
Okay. But this is the word commitment. Are you
Mhm.
committed
Mhm.
to being the next best version of yourself? Guys, I have two sets of twins. I've got four kids. My daughters are 15, my sons are 11. What example am I setting for them?
Exactly.
Because your kids are going to emulate you. Do
Yes.
as I say, not as I do.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Bullshit. I want my kids to do as I do, not as I say.
Right.
I want my kids to see daddy's trying. He screws
Yes.
up every once in a while. He screws up all the time, but he gets up and he keeps trying. I want my kids to do what I do, not
Yes.
say what I say because I don't use the best language all the time. I curse sometimes. I don't want them doing that. I want them doing what I'm doing, trying to become the next best version of me. And it starts with forgiveness. It has to start with forgiveness of yourself. And when you
Yes.
can forgive yourself, when you can forgive yourself, it's so easy to forgive somebody else and let it go because they're not perfect
Abso-freaking-lutely.
and neither are you.
Mm-mm.
I'm not perfect. I'm not God's gift to a damn thing. And there is no best version
Yeah,
of
okay,
you.
you say that, but then you're God's gift to everything. And when I say God, I don't use it as something separate from myself. Like everything is God. There's nothing that isn't God, including you. And
No, I
it's
said I'm
like,
not God's gift.
no, but I'm saying that you are. So at the same
Well,
time,
we
you are.
at the
At the
same
same
time you
time,
are.
you
So
are.
yeah,
You are.
yeah.
You're, that,
So there's a
it's,
dichotomy there,
yeah.
and that's okay. And
No,
that's
I'm
okay.
not God's
But
gift. It's ego, but being God's gift is consciousness because everything is God. Everything is consciousness. There's
I
nothing that isn't
totally, totally agree.
consciousness.
Absolutely, a
Hmm.
100% totally agree. Absolutely. Um, but there is no best version of you or me or anybody else because every time you grow a little bit and you become the next best version of you, there's another next best version, and then there's
Yes.
another next
Yeah.
best version, and that never ever ends. But remember, we and this actually does play into this, and I think I've spoken to you about this before. Um, we were taught we have five senses: sight, sound, taste, touch, smell. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, if you can visualize an orange, take an orange, just imagine
Hmm.
an orange in your hand, put it
Hmm.
up to your ear and shake it. Can you hear
Hmm.
the orange? No. So take hearing away. You're down to four senses. I'm doing this on purpose. Now, let's say I put my hands over that orange. I just took your sight away. You're down to three. All right. Well, if let's take smell away now. You can't smell it. You can only taste it and touch it. But if you can't smell it, let's take touch away, taste away too, because you know if you've ever been sick, and any medical professional will tell you, if your olfactory sense is gone, you
Yep.
can't taste. And you
Can't
know when
taste
you're
or
sick, if
smell.
you can't smell it, you're just not going to taste right. So if we're
Hmm.
taking smell away, let's take taste away also. You're down to one sense. Now give me the orange back. I'm holding it now. I just took away all five of your senses. Okay. The
Hmm.
orange still exists. What's left of you? Do you exist without your five senses? The answer is yes. It's
Absolutely.
your awareness, it's your spirit, it's the soul, it's who you truly are. Who am I? Sorry,
Hmm.
who am I? Who do I want to be? What am I doing about it? And what are my results? You are spirit. You are soul. You are part of God's creation. What are we friggin' fighting about?
Right.
What are we fighting about? Is it that difficult to believe that there's something bigger than you? Is it that? And then I'm getting a little pissy right now because it bothers me that much. It's that important to me. I get emotional when I talk about this because why wouldn't you admit that, hey, there's something bigger than me out there? I'm not the end all and be all. And if I'm not perfect and you're not perfect, what are we fighting about? Forgive. Forgive yourself
That
first.
awareness, that
Yeah.
awareness
Get
of the
in touch.
connection, like you mentioned in the beginning, it's the awareness of the connection. You're not separate from anyone or anything.
No,
Everything,
we're not.
and I've said this many times before, looking up at the periodic table and realizing that everything that exists is made up of different conglomerations of atoms from the periodic table, including us. Hence, everything is of itself, everything is one. We are not separate from, as you were mentioning in the very beginning, we are all the human race. We are
The
human
human
race.
race. And
We
we're
may
all
look different.
stardust.
I look different than you know, but that's a physical. But at the base, the spiritual consciousness, everything is of itself. Everything is of everything, and it's our thinking that separates us from other people. It's our thinking, that causes us to react instead of response response
Yeah.
able,
Yeah.
you know. Hmm.
So think about what you said. Think about what you said there for a minute. You and I, we physically look different.
Mhm.
Okay. But your biological parents, you inherited certain traits through
Mhm.
DNA
Mhm.
from your biological parents, your mother's smile, your father's eyes, whatever it was,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Well, the universe created everything. Okay, everything exists. So, is it possible if God or source, universe, whatever you want to call it, created everything and we're part of that, is it possible we have some of those traits as well?
Oh gosh.
Like
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
ability to love, the
Yeah.
ability to care, the ability to have compassion and empathy and understanding, the ability to forgive, the ability to grow and become more. Life is all about expansion and ever growing. There is
Yes.
no end. There is no border. There is no
Mhm.
end. Life is about
No.
expanding. So if you're part of life, don't you want to expand and become the next part, the
Yeah.
next stage? But it starts with forgiveness. And let me tell you why. Because nobody learned how to hate. No, nobody was born hating. You learned it. Nobody was born judging. You learned it. And if you
Exactly.
learned it, you can unlearn it and learn
Mhm.
something else. The question is, do you want to? Are
Mhm.
you able? Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. Are you willing? I can't answer that question for you. Only you can. That's why this work is so important. That's why what we're doing is so important.
Yeah.
Because that consciousness shift is starting
Mhm.
to
Yes, it
happen.
is.
And if
I
you're paying attention, and I know you are, Steph, but if you're paying attention to what's going on in the world, changes are coming.
Mhm.
We, the human race, get to choose
Yeah.
how we want this to play out.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you want it to get worse or do you want it to get better?
Heather says rewiring the brain. Yes.
Yes, Heather,
100%.
you're right. You're right. Rewire your brain. The only thing you will ever have any true control over is choice.
Mhm.
So you get to choose the kind of world you want, the kind of world you want your children and grandchildren to inherit. What are we leaving them?
Mhm.
Can we teach them? Can we take one day a year and teach them about peace and forgiveness and understanding and compassion? And today, it doesn't make a difference what religion you are. Today, it
Nope.
doesn't matter what your skin color is. Today, it doesn't matter
Mhm.
if you're a boy or a girl. Today, it doesn't matter. Today, we are all human.
Mhm.
Today is about letting go. Can we do that one day a year? Is that really too much to ask? It's not.
Sign me up.
Absolutely. You're on. Steph,
I
this is
love
what it's
this,
about
John.
for me. I love it. I
So
absolutely
when
love
do
it.
you plan to roll this out?
It's a work in progress. It truly is. I can't answer that question yet, but what I can tell you is that I've kind of picked a date that's personal to me.
Okay.
And the date is September 6th.
Oh.
And September 6th is important to me because 15 years ago, I lost my mother. She passed on September 6th. And I would love to honor her memory with a global day of forgiveness.
Oh, I love that. Was she very
Um,
forgiving?
oh, my mother, with all the shit that I put her through, yeah, she was very forgiving.
Yes, he is, Jeff. Jeff says John is a rock star.
Thank you, Jeff. I
Yes, he
appreciate
is.
that, man. Thank you.
That's
Um,
beautiful. Yes, Heather, it is.
yeah, so yeah, with all the shit I put my mother through, oh yeah, yeah, she
Mhm.
was a forgiving person because I'm still alive. I'm here talking to you. So yeah, so so, and I'm starting to get a little teary eyed here. I'm sorry about that.
Oh,
But that's what this means. It means that much because I got to set an example for my kids too. And you, ladies and gentlemen, you get to set an example for your kids. What
yes.
example do you want? What do you want to teach them? What do you
Mhm.
want to teach them? It's your choice. You want to teach them forgiveness, or you want to teach them hate?
Exactly.
Teach them forgiveness.
And you're
Teach
right,
them
Jeff.
forgiveness.
Feelings are not bad, and
Yeah.
uh, I've been in my feelings a lot lately, and but it's about, okay, processing and going, okay, what's coming up for me? What's coming up with me with this anger, and sadness and like resentment, whatever I've been feeling,
Yeah,
and I'm through it now. But it's like, but I work again, being intentional. I work through. Let me understand what's going on. Let me understand what I'm trying, what's coming, what is trying to get my attention. And
yes,
Heather says, never apologize for showing emotion. Absolutely not. Even though I'm
absolutely. You're
embarrassed.
right.
Yes, I get embarrassed when I cry in front of others, and that's been something ever since I was like 3. It's really odd, and,
Which is another thing that we
yes,
were
Jeff.
taught to do. We
Mhm.
were taught,
Especially men,
especially men,
and that's a
repress the emotion. Girls
whole
cry, boys don't cry, girls cry.
right.
Bullshit, boys cry too.
Yeah.
And if you learn that it's okay to use to embrace those emotions and learn how to use your emotions, gentlemen,
Mhm.
pay attention. All right, because I'm not talking to the ladies right now. They already know this. When it comes to emotional integrity and emotional strength, emotional understanding, ladies are light years ahead of us, gentlemen. All right. The biggest tool, the strongest tool you will ever have is your emotions. Learn how to embrace them, learn how to use them, learn what's appropriate. Okay. Sitting there
Exactly.
crying over every little thing's not appropriate. Okay. But when
Response
something
able.
moves you, there's nothing embarrassing about crying about it. Okay. You're allowed. You're human first. Forget the boys don't cry bullshit. You're a human being. You signed up on this earth to feel things, to experience things, because your thoughts are the
Yes,
language of
Heather.
your mind. Your feelings are the language of your body. You have to allow them to show up. It's part of who you are. You can't get away from it. You become angry, miserable, and pissed off when you suppress
Mhm.
it long enough.
Yep.
Let it out.
100%.
It is freeing.
Yeah.
There's freedom in that.
Yes.
Forgive yourself for burying all that bullshit. Forgive yourself. Start there.
And yeah, they're saying we were taught that. Why are you crying? I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah, I
And
got that too.
yeah, and again, it's a shift in paradigm. It's a shift in consciousness where our parents were at this level. Now we're at this level. Again, just being consciously aware, being consciously intentional. And like how you're showing up. You're not perfect, but how you're intentionally at least trying to show up for your children,
Yes.
being a role model, someone they look up to, and doing what you do, not what you say. Like you're not telling them not to do something, and you're doing it.
Right.
There
I
was
want
that
them to,
that commercial back in the 80s. The guy, the kids in the room, the dad walks in the room and he's got his like cigar box open and he's smoking marijuana. And the guy's like, what are you doing? Where did you learn that? He's like, from you, Dad. I learned it from you.
yeah, actually, I do remember that now that you're bringing it up.
Hmm.
Yeah. So pay attention because you know what?
Yeah.
Your kids are watching.
Yes.
So, and that's your first obligation is what are you going to give your kids? What are you teaching them? What world are you leaving them? Because this is going to go on long after I'm gone, guys. Okay. And my kids are going to remember, you know what? Daddy started an annual global day of forgiveness. Daddy did that. Daddy did that. Let's
Yeah.
keep it going. Let's see if we can do it. And maybe I may only start an annual thing. Maybe my kids or your kids or somebody else's kids will say, you know what? Let's make it semi-annual. Let's make it twice a year. Let's make it 3 times a year. Wow, here's a thought. Let's make it 365 days a year. Who the hell knows? But let's start with one. Let's start with one and let's start it today.
Absolutely. Jeff, I want you to clarify. I used to say that to my brother all the time when he accused me of being a slut. You used to say, I'm going to give you something to cry about. If you could just clarify. Um, yeah, absolutely, John. And the legacy or the seeds that you're planting, the flowers and the trees that will bloom and blossom.
And I'm not doing this for any kind of recognition. This isn't about me, and this is not an ego thing. This is about, because that
You
needs
don't
to be.
even have to say that,
No, no, it
John.
does.
We know
Actually, it
that.
does, because somebody's going to say, "Oh, he's going to be
Who
all
cares
pompous
what
and
they think,
overstuff."
John? Who cares? That's how they're receiving.
Exactly,
Allow them,
exactly.
allow them that experience. Allow them
Yes,
because we have to realize, let them have that experience. But then hopefully one day, well, wait a minute. I remember this one time I was watching Stephanie's podcast, and she had this guy John on, and he said this, and boy, at the time, because of what I was existing in and how my mindset was, I didn't believe that. But oh my God, boy, have I had a paradigm shift
paradigm
in
shift.
my thinking, and now I see what that guy was saying. Woo,
You
that
know, it's
makes
funny.
sense.
It's
Oh,
funny
I learned it
because
by watching you. Okay.
it's funny because I will. Sorry, I got my alarm going off there. Um,
Time to get up.
I will do something, think something, say something, and say to myself, that was really stupid. John, you're better than that.
Yeah, we
And
all
I will
do.
catch
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
and I will put myself down, and I will catch myself, and I'll say, no, wait a minute, that's a paradigm. Putting myself down is a habit. It's a habit. It's a paradigm. And then I feel guilty about feeling guilty about that paradigm. And so I'm saying, wait a minute, I got a paradigm inside a paradigm. What the is going on? What does this
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
But every time I go deeper, I realize there's another level,
Yeah.
because there's a law of parallels. There's a universal law of parallels. Okay, everybody's heard of the law of attraction, right? That's a secondary law. The primary law is the law of vibration, and even that is, and yeah, it's the law of vibration. But Michael Beckwith got this right, in my humble yet accurate opinion, when he said, um, "It's the law of resonance. You attract who you are. Who am I?
Yes.
Who do I want to be?"
Right.
Okay. So you're doing this on a conscious level now. You're looking every time you make a decision. Think about this. Who is the person that I want to become? Would the person I want to be make the decision I'm making right now? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Think about
Mm-hmm.
that for a minute.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Right. The person that I want to be, would they be doing what I'm doing right now? And it's not about, oh, you know what, John, you're better than, and having a pity party. It's not about that. It's
Mm-mm.
about recognizing where you are and where you want to be, because where you are and where you want to be, the space in between is a gap, right? Well, that gap is gratitude, attitude, and perseverance. And when you got those three things going for you, that gap closes real fast, real fast.
Mm-hmm.
But it
Absolutely.
takes being aware of where you are. So this isn't about making you feel bad. It's about taking ownership of who you are today, where you are today, and what do I need to do? What do I
Mm-hmm.
get to? You don't need to do anything, you get to. What do you get to do to become the next best version of you? How about forgive yourself for not knowing? You didn't know.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
not
you
your
didn't have
fault.
the awareness or the access. And John, so Jeff was saying, no, I learned it by watching you. That's what he used when his brother would put him down, or call him a
Yeah.
slut, like he was using that as a derogatory term.
Yeah.
That's what he was saying. Well, I learned it by watching you. And Heather, yeah, hell to the yeah, girl. Other people's opinions of you are none of your business, because that's all also oftentimes a reflection of how they feel about themselves. And
Yeah.
Jeff is also saying, yeah, humble but accurate.
Yeah. Humble but accurate.
Yes.
Yep. Starts with forgiveness, guys. And you got to
Yes.
love yourself first, because you
Yes.
can't love anybody else until you love yourself. And you can't love yourself if you haven't forgiven yourself. Period. It's
100%.
real simple. It's not easy, but it's simple.
Well, knowing thyself, and I mean, I could go deep into that.
Oh,
And well, I mean, we're right here at an hour, and I know that you had to go do something. So, but knowing thyself is the greatest of all wisdom. Knowing thyself and self exploration, and knowing what is awesome, special, unique. What are your special talents? What lights you up? What pounds from your heart? What elates you? And then when you operate from that place of self-awareness, then you are easily able to see, okay, I'm not perfect, and that's okay, but I can forgive myself, like John's saying. And when I forgive myself, it's easier to forgive others because I see them, I see myself as everything is a mirror, everything is a reflection. And when I am forgiving myself, then I'm more easily able to forgive someone else, and not, as you said earlier in the broadcast, drinking the poison, when you hate someone, or when you're angry or
Yep.
resentful, of someone, and not forgiving them, and what is going on, then you are the one drinking the
Yeah.
poison.
You're poisoning yourself. So,
Yeah.
guys, if for those
Well,
of you
John,
who've been
this
listening, if
is
there's one thing that I could ask you to take away from today, just one, okay? The single
mhm,
greatest gift of forgiveness is inner peace. The single greatest gift of forgiveness is inner peace. Learn that lesson, learn it well, make it part of your identity, who you are. Who you are. Thank you, Steph.
absolutely.
I love you, babe.
Thank you, John. I love you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for
Thank you
everything that
for
you
having me
bring
on
to the
again.
table. You're welcome. And I'm so September 6th. Sign me up.
Yep.
Putting it on my calendar.
Okay.
And well, guys, thank you so much, Jeff and Heather, for commenting and being a part of our empowered conversation today.
Yes.
It
Thank you
was
both very much. Thank you.
Yes, we both, yeah. And till next week, everybody have a wonderful rest of the day and an incredible rest of your week and weekend. Bye,
Yep.
everybody. John, you
Bye
stay
bye.
right here. We're just gonna bye, everybody.
And happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, everyone. Yes.